When you sit down to create content or write or create art, who are you imagining in your mind that you are creating it for? Is it an algorithm? Because that's where we are. Most people are now creating for an algorithm. And the idea is, how can I get pushed my content further than anyone else based on the algorithm? And so you see the top creator in the world, which makes him basically the top entertainer in the world, the top artist in the world is Mr. Beast. And he says, I create things for the algorithm. He says, he describes himself as a data junkie and says, I study the algorithm and I create content that the algorithm loves, and he's clearly the best at it. But this is leading to content and art, in my opinion, that is lower quality for overall. Like it has lower human resonance, meaning it lasts only a short time while you watch it. Mr. Beast videos and a lot of the other top YouTube videos, very entertaining during the time you're watching it, but it's easily forgotten, right? It doesn't stay with you the same way that a great movie or a great novel does. And I think that this is a dark place we're going into. It's a dark path we're going down to the point where we're no longer creating for each other. We're no longer creating to add value to other people's lives with a great, deep human story, but we're just creating for an algorithm and just trying to beat each other in this competition for the love of the algorithm, as opposed to the love of humans. We're going to get more into that in this video, and yeah, let's get going. There's this, if we look at evolutionary, humans evolved in tribes and were, of course, wired to survive as their number one priority. And the way that we would survive the way we would survive living in tribes was to contribute to the tribe, right? Because in a time where survival was tough, right? Tribes were living out in the wild. There was no developed societies or developed cities. Survival was tough, and so everyone had to pull their weight. And if you didn't pull your weight, you'd get left out in the forest or the jungle, the desert, and you'd die. So in other words, we evolved to feel the need to contribute to the tribe, or we won't survive. And that is still hardwired into us. We're still wired to feel like we need to contribute and add value, or we're going to be left out in the wild and die. So this means that when you do contribute, when you do add value to other people's lives, you feel good because your brain releases the dopamine and other feel-good chemicals so that you keep doing that behavior so you survive, right? Your body's wired to help you survive. So this is something to remember that's hardwired into us. Now, for me, so my personal story was, I was out in Los Angeles, in the US, and in the Hollywood film industry, pursuing my dream of becoming a Hollywood screenwriter and director. Now, when I first went out there, I loved movies, I loved telling stories, and expected to find this creative utopia where everybody was creating great stories together and great movies together. And of course, that's not what it was. And it was all about competition, right? It was all people competing with each other ultimately to get movies made, but that trickled down to where everyone's competing, even people that aren't even in the industry yet but are trying to break in, they're competing with each other. So everything's competitive, and it gets to the point where people are stabbing the back, they're fake to you, and they just don't support you or help you. And it was crushing. It was soul crushing. I didn't like it. I do like competition. Grew up playing sports. I love playing sports, and I like board games. I like competition in a fun way. When you play sports or board games, like I like competition in a fun way. But when it's competing in a way that's just like nasty and fake, when you play a sport or a board game, it's like, all right, we're all entering the same competition. We all are agreeing to play by the same rules, and then we're having fun doing it, right? this kind of competition in an industry like Hollywood, there were no agreed upon rules and people were deceptive. And anyway, you get the point. So it wasn't very fulfilling. It was actually the opposite. It was just right because I felt like I was trying to just beat other people, but it wasn't really about me adding value, contributing with great stories and great movies. And it didn't seem to be that for anyone else either. Even the people that were much higher than me and super successful, it didn't seem to be about that for them either. And so that was just really discouraging. And long story short, I moved to Bali 2 years ago. I'm living in Bali now. And I've done some stuff here. I've done a lot of improv comedy. I did a one-man show that was basically a combination of stand-up comedy, long-form storytelling, and theater, because I was playing a couple different roles, and done a little straight stand-up also. And what I've found is that I'm basically directly adding some value to people's lives, right? The audience is there, it's live. I'm seeing the effect that my performance has on them, and they're laughing. I'm contributing to their lives in a good way in terms of giving them laughs. And there's also no money in it or theater or film industry that everyone's trying to get into, like in LA. The competition part is not there. And people are doing it for the love of it and the fun, and it's so supportive. Everyone's so supportive of each other and encouraging and collaborative. And it's just, it's fun and it's fulfilling because actually adding value to people's lives, and you don't have that nasty competition part of it. There's maybe some friendly competition of who can do a funnier scene, but like everyone's supportive of each other, and it's just totally different. And again, to see the impact directly that you're having on people and actually adding value to people's lives versus when I was in the film industry and writing scripts, and the script would maybe get somewhere, but it would never actually get made. And then, so I never added any value to anyone's life. So it felt like a waste of time. And except for the one movie that I did make, which is on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, if you want to check it out. But the point is that I'm just realizing in hindsight, what a trap it was to focus on competition and winning in the career and the industry that I was in, which was the film industry. Because of course, once I went to LA and tried to get into that industry, I had to try to play that game, or that's what it felt like. And it was a trap because I just got caught in this endless cycle of trying to write stuff that I think is going to be more favored in the eyes of people in the industry, but not the actual audience, not the actual receivers of the work. Ideally, the idea was to make a movie that would be for an audience, but it became all about just the industry executives and producers. And this is the same thing that now is happening with the algorithms, right? Is people are just creating for the algorithm as opposed to the audience, right? The actual receivers of the work, creating for an algorithm. And I think that the key is or what I'm doing myself and what I'm really encouraging other people to do is to focus on creating and sharing your unique gifts with other people. Like the idea is to get them to other people, not an algorithm or not some gatekeepers or overlords in an industry like the film industry, but to actually create stuff that is going to benefit other people's lives and get it to them directly. And to me, that's where my focus is. And right now, like I said, it's already brought me fulfillment. It has not yet brought me a ton of financial or other kind of professional success yet, but I'm documenting this in real time as I'm doing it. So you can watch my journey and hopefully be inspired by it and do it yourself and come along on the journey with me and put it into action in your life. because I think this is the way. And I think that a lot of people are going to go the other way towards just pleasing an algorithm and trying to beat each other to please the algorithm. And especially with AI being able to just generate a lot more content quickly, you're just going to have this endless ocean of what ultimately is mediocre content. What ultimately does not have any deep meaning or resonance that will really impact people and benefit their lives and stay with them and make them think differently about life and feel differently. Just getting smashed with stimulation like a Mr. Beast video or like a TikTok video that stimulates your dopamine and just keeps your attention, and right, that does not benefit you afterwards. It doesn't benefit you to watch those. It actually is like messing with your brain. And then it becomes harder to focus on other things and do other things that don't have that kind of intense nonstop stimulation. So it's actually messing with people's lives in that way. And people are becoming less productive, less able to focus and be present with loved ones. You can probably see that, look around when you're hanging out with people or at dinner or whatever, and how often are people checking their phones? You can see that this is like heading in a dark direction. And so just to wrap up, find ways that you can create something and share it with people where you can see the effects, like you can see the impact that it has on people. Like I was saying, I was doing improv comedy here and one-man show and all that, but it can be anything. It can be you make a painting and you show it to some friends or whatever. In other words, it doesn't have to be anything big scale. It's something, whatever you are creating, but sharing it directly with people and seeing the impact, it's more meaningful than you think. Because now we're in this age of creating content for the internet, for social media, where you're right, we're all about the numbers, and it needs to be hundreds of thousands or millions of views or followers or whatever to be meaningful. And that's been affecting our brains, especially a younger generation that's growing up with this stuff. And so it's all about high numbers is what means anything. Really, that means nothing. It really means nothing. What is meaningful is when you actually impact someone's life and you feel it. You feel the effect that you had on someone's life, right? So try it. It's more meaningful than you think. It's more meaningful to give something to a few people, some kind of experience that you created, whether that's a piece of art that you made, a video you made, a little like dinner party, or some kind of maybe a little murder mystery game at a dinner party, or right, anything that you create that creates an experience for someone else, and seeing the impact that it has even on a few people, it's just much more meaningful than you might think. So try it. And keep trying and keep creating, keep finding a way to do it directly to people and help people directly. And this is not just about art, it applies to business too. People spend a lot of time, and I'm one of them, creating their online funnel and building all these sort of back end parts of a business, website, logo, all this stuff. Instead of that, or in addition to it, but find ways to actually do your service or product for other people. Start doing it now for other people, even if it's for free, because you're going to then again feel the impact that it has on people. And that's really going to be the key to motivating you, and also just to feeling good about what you're doing, right? A sense of fulfillment. And then also you'll actually figure out how to make the service or product better through that actual live process of doing it for other people, as opposed to just trying to figure it out, following all the guides of the gurus and all that, which, believe me, I've done. I've spent over $20,000 on coaching and courses about how to build businesses. I've been there. It's all good stuff, but you're going to learn a lot more, and you're going to be able to develop a much better product or service if you're doing it directly for people and seeing if it helps them or not. So that's the video for today. Again, healthy competition is a good thing. I love it. But when it's all just about that, and it's about beating other people as opposed to helping other people, as opposed to contributing to their lives, adding value, benefiting people's lives in some way, it's just gone awry, and you can see that's just happening, that we're just headed towards a dark place. So please join me on a different direction where the focus is on contributing to other people's lives, benefiting them, adding value, and actually creating human experiences that have deep resonance and connection and emotion. Thanks for watching. Tune back in tomorrow. I make these videos every day. Have a good one. Bye.